Have you ever felt that sudden, visceral drop in your stomach when someone treats you with cold indifference? It is a specific kind of pain. You send a text, and there is no reply. You speak, and they look away. In that moment, a desperate, frantic voice inside you wakes up, urging you to ask, "What did I do wrong?" Or, "Why don't they value me?" If you have felt this, you are not weak, and you are not imagining things. You are being targeted. Disdain is not passive. It is an active psychological weapon designed to destabilize your identity. But here is the counterintuitive insight that most people miss. The person disregarding you is not trying to push you away. Paradoxically, they are trying to control you. They are banking on your predictability. They are waiting for your protest, your anger, or your pleading. Disdain feeds on reaction. It relies on you handing over your power in an attempt to fix the connection. But what happens if you refuse to play? The only way to win this game is not to scream louder, but to walk off the chessboard entirely. Today, we are deconstructing the psychology of Stoic self-sufficiency. We will dissect 7 specific behavioral shifts that transform you from a person who begs for validation into someone who is psychologically untouchable. Stay until the final point, because the last behavior is the one that flips the power dynamic completely, forcing the other person to feel, for the first time, the heavy weight of your absence. 1. The strategic silence, the extinction burst. The most common mistake we make when faced with silence or passive aggression is the urge to fill the void. You double text. You ask if they are mad. You talk faster to keep their attention. In behavioral psychology, this is known as an extinction burst. Imagine a lab rat accustomed to pressing a lever for food. If the lever suddenly stops working, the rat doesn't just walk away immediately. It presses the lever frantically, harder and faster. When someone withdraws their attention, your brain panics and demands you press the lever by over-communicating. You must override this biological impulse. The Stoic response is the mirror of silence. You must understand that their silence is a trap, a bait designed to make you dance. If you do not bite, the trap remains empty. By mirroring their silence, you do not just protect your dignity, you invert the pressure. The action. The next time you are met with a cold shoulder or a delayed response designed to make you anxious, do not ask why. Do not follow up. Engage in a regulated pause. Count to 3. Breathe deeply to lower your cortisol and return your focus to your work or your life. Let the silence hang in the air. Let them sit with the awkwardness they created. 2. The death of over-explanation, locus of control. Watch yourself carefully. When you say no to someone, do you immediately follow it with 3 sentences explaining why? I can't come because I have to study, and my car is acting up, and... This is a trauma response, often called fawning. You are unconsciously trying to soften the blow to avoid conflict. But psychologically, this signals an external locus of control. By over-explaining, you are submitting your decisions to the other person for approval. You are essentially asking, "Is my reason good enough for you to allow me to say no?" A person of high status and self-sufficiency does not treat their life choices as a courtroom trial where they must prove their innocence. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "To be a good man is not a matter of debate. Neither are your boundaries. Your no is a complete sentence. It requires no footnotes." The action. Practice the uncomfortable end. When you decline an invitation or set a boundary, give the reason in one short sentence or not at all. I won't be able to make it. Then stop. End the text. Close your mouth. Endure the momentary anxiety of not justifying yourself. In that silence, Your authority is born. 3. Imperturbability, the gray rock method. When someone criticizes you unfairly or uses sarcasm to demean you, your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, wants to hijack your logic. You feel the heat rise in your neck. You want to argue, to prove them wrong, to win. This is exactly what a manipulator wants. They are seeking narcissistic supply, an emotional reaction that confirms they have the power to disrupt your internal state. If you get angry, they win. If you cry, they win. The solution is a technique often called the gray rock method. You must become as uninteresting and unreactive as a gray rock. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about tactical dissociation. You view the person not as a threat, but as a flawed specimen you are observing under a microscope. The action. When the insult comes, slow down your processing speed. Do not defend yourself. Instead, use a neutral acknowledgement. Look them in the eye and simply say, "I see that's your perspective," or "That is an interesting thing to say out loud." Keep your voice flat. When you strip your reaction of emotional charge, you starve their ego. 4. Autonomy of validation, self-efficacy theory. Many of us are addicted to what psychologists call extrinsic motivation. We do good work, we dress well, or we achieve goals, but we don't feel the gratification until someone else notices it. We are walking around with an empty cup, begging others to pour value into it. This dependency makes you vulnerable. If your self-worth relies on their applause, your misery is guaranteed by their silence. True power comes from self-efficacy, the internal belief in your own capability. The Stoic mindset dictates that you must be the first and most important witness to your own life. You must reach a point where your own assessment of your actions outweighs the collective opinion of the crowd. The action. This week, achieve something meaningful. A workout, a finished project, a charitable act, and tell absolutely no one. Do not post it. Do not text a friend about it. Sit with the feeling of accomplishment in solitude. Train your brain to release dopamine based on the action itself, not the social recognition of the action. 5. Guilt-free boundaries, operant conditioning. There is a misconception that being good means being agreeable. But in the dynamics of power, high agreeableness is often read as weakness. If you always say yes to keep the peace, you are teaching people that your time and energy are cheap resources. This is operant conditioning. By rewarding their disrespect with your continued compliance, you are reinforcing their bad behavior. You are training them to treat you poorly. The self-sufficient individual understands that a boundary is not an act of aggression, it is an act of self-preservation. You must be willing to be disliked in the short term, to be respected in the long term. The action. Identify one area where you are currently overextending yourself to please someone who does not reciprocate. Withdraw that energy immediately. When they push back, and they will, do not apologize. State your limit calmly. I'm not available for that anymore. Respect is not given to those who yield. It is given to those who stand firm. 6. The elegant withdrawal, the scarcity principle. When a relationship becomes toxic or one-sided, the amateur makes a scene. They issue ultimatums. If you do this again, I'm leaving. Psychologically, threats without action are just noise. They signal that you are still emotionally invested, still trying to change them. You are still present. The master of self-sufficiency utilizes the scarcity principle. Value is driven by scarcity. If you are always available, always trying to fix things, your presence has no value. You must learn the art of the elegant withdrawal. This means fading out without the fireworks. It is treating the person with basic politeness. but removing their access to your inner world. The action: stop initiating. Stop sharing your dreams, your fears, and your daily updates with this person. Be polite, but brief. Become a background character in their life. When they realize they can no longer access your intimacy, the shift in dynamic is palpable. You haven't fought them, you have simply outgrown them. 7. Moving on without warning, the Zeigarnik effect. This is the final and most powerful shift. We are conditioned to believe we need closure. We think we need one last conversation to explain how much they hurt us, hoping they will finally understand. They won't. And seeking that closure keeps the wound open. There is a psychological concept called the Zeigarnik effect, which states that the human brain remembers unfinished tasks better than finished ones. When you write a long goodbye letter, you give the other person closure. You finish the story for them. To truly reclaim your power, you must leave the story unfinished. You move on without the warning shot. You improve your life, you upgrade your circle, and you vanish from theirs. This leaves the tension with them. They are left with the open loop, the unanswered question, the why. The action: delete the draft of that long text message. Do not announce your departure. Just go. Focus entirely on your own path. The greatest retribution against those who belittled you is not your anger. It is your absolute, thriving independence. Let your absence be the only explanation they ever receive. The philosophy we have discussed today isn't just about handling difficult people. It is about sovereignty. It is about realizing that you have been holding the keys to your own emotional stability the entire time. The moment you stop needing them to behave differently is the moment you become free. But understand this: adopting a Stoic, self-sufficient mindset is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice of rewiring your brain. It requires habits that reinforce your focus and control. If you are ready to build that kind of internal fortress, you need to master your own biology first. I have broken down the science of regaining your focus in this video. How to reset your dopamine. It is the blueprint for the mental clarity you need to execute what we discussed today. Now, I have a question for you. Which of these 7 behaviors is the hardest for you to implement? Is it the silence, or is it the ability to say no without guilt? Let me know in the comments below. I read them to understand who is walking this path with me. Subscribe if you are ready to elevate your mind. Become the architect of your own existence. I will see you in the next one.